Los Altos, Spanish for the Heights, evolved from a rural agricultural area of apricot orchards to fine homes into one of the most affluent communities located in the heart of Silicon Valley. In the 1850s, following the gold rush, fewer than 100 people lived here on large ranches, including the Winchester Merrimack House. In 1905, J. Gilbert Smith finished building his craftsman home, now called the History House. Paul Schaup, known as the father of Los Altos, established the town in 1907 along the newly built Southern Pacific Railroad. A real estate brochure, perhaps written by Schaup himself, touted the town as the crown of the peninsula, alluding to its geographical location and promoting a genteel country lifestyle. Growth began with the opening of the hardware store at 2nd and Main, housing our first post office. The first library opened containing 100 books, and the San Antonio Club, founded as a music and literary society, hosted many early meetings and gatherings. The city purchased a 1929 Ford Model A one-ton fire truck that is still on display today in the firehouse. In 1947, the Kiwanis Club of Los Altos was established. In 1948, the Boy Scout Pack No. 39 organized the city's first pet parade throughout downtown, a beloved community event continued yearly since by the Kiwanis Club. In 1949, the Rotary Club was established, led by Guy Schaup, Paul's brother. Demand for housing exploded after World War II. The neighboring city of Mountain View began eyeing the orchards for annexation and tax revenue. This sparked a major controversy, perhaps the biggest in the history of Los Altos. Some Los Altans believed that becoming a part of Mountain View would destroy the privacy that they cherished. They began to pursue incorporation. Others feared the increased taxes that incorporation might bring and opposed it. Volunteers urged incorporation, and creative skill went into drawing the city limits to make sure it would pass. After one failed attempt in 1952, Los Altans voted to incorporate with 2,138 in favor, 1,906 against. It was approved by 232 votes. Late on December 1st, 1952, George Ramsey drove the papers up to Sacramento, where the state seal was affixed, and it was official. On December 1st, Los Altos was incorporated. The first city council convened with A. Watson Connor as mayor, who hired employees and contracted for fire and police protection. Ever since, Los Altos has celebrated its incorporation on special anniversaries. In January 1962, the 10th year of incorporation, residents woke to a winter wonderland. In the aftermath of the snowstorm, a series of rainstorms caused heavy flooding on area streets, resulting in residents passing a bond to install a citywide sewer system and storm drains. Mayor Jim Thurber began his 4-year term. As the peninsula continued to grow, residents and city planners expressed great concern over the impending construction of the Junipero-Serra Freeway, now Highway 280, which was originally routed parallel to the railroad tracks and right through the newly constructed Chamber of Commerce building. In 1964, the train track became the new Foothill Expressway. Aviation, aerospace, electronics, and the computer industry were beginning to flourish in what was transforming Santa Clara Valley into Silicon Valley. Families were moving in, and the city's population of school-age children more than quadrupled. The city created the Los Altos Youth Theater in 1965, continuing a long-established tradition of arts in the community. The 1970s was a time when the area's school-age population was shrinking, and local school districts sold off a number of surplus school sites. The city purchased Hillview Elementary School from the Los Altos School District to serve as the city's community center, and purchased a school from the Cupertino Union School District to create Grant Park. In 1977, Los Altos celebrated its silver anniversary under Mayor Roy Lave. Bill Shine, a well-known Los Altos resident, chaired the committee. Local service clubs sponsors events such as the Sidewalk Chalk Drawing Contest, a huge street dance, barbecue, wine tasting, and a historical treasure hunt. The year-long celebration ended with an evening program held at the Los Altos Youth Center. The celebration of the 25th anniversary is best remembered for the new History Museum opening in the J. Gilbert Smith House and for the beautiful granite blocks planted with pine trees at the entrances of the city. It was an idea of Bill Powell, a well-known realtor in town. There had been a long desire to place Los Altos signs at the borders of the city. So when Bill spotted these granite cubes at a quarry in the Sierras, he purchased them and shipped them home, where local architect Larry Matson designed the planter boxes we see today. Bill also had an idea to use the granite blocks for a fountain in Lincoln Park. There was some controversy about the design and the location, but ultimately the city accepted the fountain as a gift from the community and built it at the main library in the Civic Center. "1982 was a celebration of 30 years of incorporation. Mayor Jane Reed and George Estel Sr., who was a member of the first City Council, kicked off the celebration with a cake-cutting ceremony. The highlight of the week was the Diamond Anniversary Ball. The Festival of Lights Parade, which was in its 5th year, attracted some 25,000 people, lining the streets of downtown Los Altos for this magical beginning of the holiday season. Sustainability was becoming an increasing concern in the 80s, so Los Altos did its part by establishing a recycling committee, which obtained a state grant for a curbside recycling program. Today, Los Altos is in the top 1% of all cities nationwide in waste management. The gazebo in Lincoln Park was built to commemorate the city's 35th anniversary, a project conceived and coordinated by Abby Aarons. The city's art committee presented 3 sculptures to the city: Space Dance for Peace, Diamond Jubilee, and the Convolute of the Square. "40 years of incorporation was celebrated under Mayor Penny Lave. The celebration kicked off with a birthday cake float in the Festival of Lights Parade. A book written to commemorate the anniversary entitled Los Altos Portrait of a Community was sponsored by Los Altos Tomorrow, now known as the Los Altos Community Foundation. The Los Altos Conservative Theater, now known as the Bus Barn Stage Company, presented 2 performances of the Birthday Follies. A gala was held with proceeds from the charity ball benefiting the CSA, the Community Services Agency. Los Altos has had a long tradition of residents giving their time and treasure back to the community. 9 more sculptures were dedicated over the course of the decade and can be found throughout the city. In 2002, Los Altos celebrated its golden anniversary under Mayor Francis LaPole. The History Museum presented a special exhibit entitled Los Altos, Celebrating 50 Years of Community. It painted a portrait of the city at various stages of its history from the time it was incorporated as 11th city in Santa Clara County. A community picnic was held and more than 1,000 residents turned out for an afternoon of fun in the sun with their families. Police and fire personnel were on hand to give tours of the police station and the fire engines. Vintage cars and trucks were on display nearby, and music was abundant with Ye Old Town Band performing big band classics. At the gala, 16 former mayors described controversial moments, while volunteers roamed the room with placards reading, "What about parking? Second-story people are snoops. Just say no to leaf blowers." The night ended with a rousing rendition of Happy Birthday, Los Altos. In 2012, Los Altos celebrates its 60th year of incorporation under Mayor Val Carpenter. The decade has been a time of renewal for the city. Passerelle Investments, which in the last few years has acquired a number of downtown properties, sprucing them up and bringing in new tenants serving families. Growing concerns over climate change led to a new award-winning city ordinance on green building practices, the formation of Greentown Los Altos, and the city's designation as a bicycle-friendly community. In 2008, Mayor Carpenter signed the U.S. Mayor's Climate Protection Agreement. The David and Lucille Packard Foundation built a new headquarters designed to achieve a LEED Platinum rating and net zero energy use. Downtown was a focus of intense activity. The village has always been the heart of the community, hosting well-loved parades and festivals, including the Rotary Fine Art in the Park, the Los Altos Village Association Art and Wine Festival, and the Los Altos Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival. The Public Arts Commission identified appropriate areas and placed 11 new sculptures around town. The Los Altos School District was recognized for academic excellence, achieving the highest API scores in all of California. The preservation of the community's historic resources continued to be important. Highlights were the adaptive use of Richard Nortra House and the renovation of the San Antonio Club. The Paul Schaup House was listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the only structure in Los Altos to achieve this distinction. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, and the telling of his life story revealed that he grew up in Los Altos, where Apple Computer was born. The year-long 60th anniversary celebration began on New Year's Day with many local community events hosted throughout the year, which culminated with a gala dinner on December 1st. The mission of the City of Los Altos is to foster and maintain Los Altos as a great place to live and to raise a family. We look forward to celebrating many more anniversaries with you.